Did you know only about 20% of all the words on your website are even read? Shot to the heart for this copywriter, but fun fact, that's actually why I love my job. Because if that is all we get, if that's all that your customer or your client may read on your website, that 20% sliver, well then dang it, it's gotta be good. Every single one of those words counts. But here is the kicker, we all have different things that make us tick or make us light up when we think about spending our hard-earned cash. So, tall order, how do we make sure that your website copy, that tiny bit that we just talked about that your reader's actually seeing, how do we make sure that then intersects with the things that he or she is actually looking for? Well, that is what I'm telling you in today's video. We're talking about how your clients and customers are making decisions about money, and then in turn, how we can communicate that in your copywriting. Okay, we're gonna get a little psychological in today's video. If you're into that kind of stuff too, click the like button while you're down there, hit subscribe and the bell next to it. I drop videos like this every single Thursday, and that is how you'll be in the loop, and I'll let you know when the next one comes out. And spoiler, this video includes a little sneak peek of the type of content that is new and refreshed for Copywriting for Creatives 3.0. It's my signature program, my baby. I love it. It's taught thousands of you how to master your message, write your site, and launch it to sell. Don't miss out. You can hop on the waitlist below. Okay, that said, let's jump to it. Overall, there are 4 big buying patterns or styles that we see. And first up, we have the analyst. This is your client or customer that is making money decisions based on a thinking style that values, in large part, logic, facts, quantitative evidence, and, well, analysis. I actually have a quiz that will help you find your buying style. I'll tell you more on why in just a little bit, but I labeled this type in that quiz the sassy and strategic. And before I tell you more about this buyer, I want to go over why this is important. Predominantly, when you're writing copy for your website or in your emails, you're writing in the buying style. Again, by and large part, most of us do this. You write how you like to be sold to, which is fine and dandy, except there are other types out there who may need to hear something different. Again, you'll see as I unfold that in this video, but what I want to do in this video is kind of show you your blind spots and introduce you to, you know what, maybe you always write this way because that's also how you like to be sold to. Let's think about these other things too. Okay, so back to our sassy and strategic, our analysis type buyer. This kind of person likes numbers, they're competitive, they're naturally critical, they're a realist. They're a logical thinker, they're allergic to fluff, they're the show me the money, what's the ROI, what's my investment gonna get back? And so the elements that we need to use in our copy that are important to this type of buyer are things like tables and grids of information, price anchoring, or as I call it inside Copywriting for Creatives, the Starbucks test, because we've all purchased something before, and in the buying process you hear something like, you could skip your weekly coffee addiction for a month and you could afford this subscription. That's price anchoring, and we want to have that in our copy. Remember, these kind of people, they want to know the ROI. This type of buyer also really likes their stack broken out so they can see all the specs, all the technical aspects of whatever it is you do. They want ultra clear pricing, and data points are going to go far with this type of buyer. If you've never watched my PARIS sales copy framework video, I'm going to put it up here. We'll also go over this more in a co-working session I'm teaching in a couple of weeks. Look down below for that link. But in that, I teach PAR, problem agitation, remind them what they want, and then an interesting data point. There are so many buyers out there who their emotions have convinced them that this is something that they want or need, and they're just looking for that data point, that pat on the back that says, you know what, you're right, and here is the hardcore data that's going to back up what you're already thinking. Okay, that's our sassy and strategic, our analyst type buyer. Before I go to the next ones, I want you to comment below if you've taken that quiz before, ashlynwrites.com/quiz. What buying type are you, and do you think your audience is similar? Number 2, next up is the planner, or like I call it in that quiz, this is the poised and polished type buyer. By the way, I didn't pull this out of my booty. This is based off of something called the Herman Brain Dominance Instrument. TLDR, it's essentially a type of cognitive style measurement. Think Myers-Briggs. I was first introduced to it back in some leadership training probably over a decade ago. And I've always thought of it when I'm writing long form copy because there are different elements that I know naturally appeal to different personality types. I wanted to see if it was applicable to copy, tested it on lots of clients and projects. here we are. This buyer loves a to-do list, is very methodical, a naturally detailed sequential thinker who is allergic to disorder. They want the step-by-step plan. This is what I get every time I take my quiz. When someone like me is looking at your website or your landing page copy, I am looking for the timeline because I have a goal in mind that I want to get to. I'm looking to see how you are going to keep up your end of the deal and help me get there as quickly as possible. I want the agenda, I want the offer crystal clear to me. This type of buyer tends to be a little more risk averse. Remember, they're the planner, so make sure you have that good, well-branded guarantee prominently on your offer page. Also for this buyer, make sure that you clearly communicate in your copy what they need either before working with you or even before hopping on that sales call or discovery call, whatever you call it. If they are a one-on-one client that's going to be coming into your business or your agency, quality will assure this person because they are the detail noticer. Moving on to number 3, and hopefully at this point you're starting to see that this is why long-form copy works so well, or more of a long-form page. There's a time and a place for a short squeeze page. But what I want you to think about is how to make your website and set it up to be a framework of different places, like chapters in a book, places where they could slot in and say, you know what, I'm interested in that, I don't care about that, read on. This will work. Long form copy, people will still read, people will not read boring copy. So don't be so concerned on making everything just so short on the page. Make your words count. Say what you need to say and move on. Okay, number 3, this is what I call the whimsical visionary. Most of my audience tends to be towards this. I work with a lot of creatives, artists, makers, entrepreneurs, and well, visionaries. This type of buyer is super conceptual, imaginative, they're future focused, they're thinking about the dream, about the vision. They like surprises, they're a little bit impetuous, more of a risk taker. They visualize thinking, and this buyer is allergic to inflexibility and rigidness. So here's some things that I try to do in my copy to speak to this type person. One thing I'll do is always supplement my copy with some sort of visual element to help communicate the words, whether that's really good brand photography or imagery or a diagram or infographic. You also want to use a technique in your copy with this type buyer that's called future pacing. So in an email funnel, for example, I want to tell them what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes after they take action on what it is that I've presented. I want to tell them what's going to happen in the next 5 months and then help them paint a picture of what could happen 5 years from now. Fun and imaginative copy performs well with this audience. That's why don't be afraid to bring in a story or an anecdote. If you're on my email list, you see I do this a lot. It is kind of my natural writing style, but the more that I've seen my audience really respond to it, I've leaned into that more. So do that with your audience. If you can tell that they're bent towards a certain type of buyer, then let your copy lean that way as well. One last thing I'll do for this type buyer is something that I call in my Sweet 16 sales page framework, I call it the Hail Mary. At the end of the sales page, we're doing one more PARIS moment, problem, agitation, reminding them what they want, interesting data point, solution, PARIS. We're gonna have one more of those at the end of the sales page because I wanna button it up with one Hail Mary where I'm painting the big picture for them one more time. Okay, last up we have the Charmer. This is our winsome, expressive, and passionate decision maker when it comes to money, spending, and buying. This is your client or customer who loves emotion. They're very humanistic, very empathetic. They're naturally a great coach or listener. They hate hidden agendas and connect fiercely to shared values. Okay, so elements you want to include in your copy to make sure you're speaking to this type of buyer. You knew I was going to say it. Story. Story matters so much to these people. One way to do that is in your case studies and your testimonials, making sure you're painting a great picture, that before and after that's so important. Don't be afraid to talk about yourself, personal anecdotes, information about your family or your team. This is the type of buyer that's going to your about page and is going to be so interested to see if they've got anything in common with you. If you think your audience is a lot of people like this, consider having some sort of a sales video or brand trailer that they can use. Again, they want this story. They want to feel like they're a part of it. They're soaking it up. They can step inside your world. Okay, again, here is why all this matters. Yes, your audience may tend towards one of these, but you probably have all of these buyer types in your audience. Heck, we all buy different things in our life with these different lenses. This is why copy frameworks are so important, because you want to be pulling all these different psychological levers in your copy. I teach this extensively inside Copywriting for Creatives, and inside my frameworks, we're going to make sure that your copy has elements of all of these in every single page. Look down below to get on that waitlist for CFC and hop inside that co-working class, and go to ashlynwrites.com/quiz if you are trying to figure out what your buying style is and you can't quite see it. Like I said, I want to help help you find those blind spots in your copywriting so you can write better copy to sell to your clients and customers. If you like this video and it helped you out today, let me know by clicking that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and be sure to watch the next video I've got teed up for you. I'm taking you through more than 90 different power words that you can use as catnip in your sales copy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.